I can't hear you. I can't hear. Can you hear me? You can hear me? I can't hear any. There you go. I heard something. Okay, I'm gonna go out and come back in. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go out and come back in. I'm gonna come out and come back in.
Haiti borders with the Dominican.
Her name is Serena Buffalino. They call her Mrs. B, and her class always begins with a pledge.
Something local, something global. Haiti.
They're words that carry
Yes.
weight here. Helping yourself means helping others, giving back, here and a world away in Haiti.
And nobody's helping them, except for people like us.
It was through her the class learned of Haiti, of the nearly 1 million orphans, many with no school, no support, no Mrs. B in their lives.
They could not wrap their head around that.
Mrs. B's students are among Toronto's most at risk. Their challenges vary from emotional and behavioral difficulties to learning disabilities. Their trauma so severe they can't function in a regular school setting, and we aren't allowed to show most of their classmates.
For most of the kids, most of society has turned them away. And in this classroom, they're accepted. They're accepted no matter what for who they are.
Take Yolanda. She came here last year so burdened and withdrawn, she would often fall silent, sometimes for days on end. It was, she says, Mrs. B's patience, her quiet encouragement, that saved her.
She actually saves people's lives from dangers.
And perhaps that's why these marginalized kids feel such a kinship with the orphans of Haiti and why they were moved to act.
And so when Yolanda and Jackie and Patrick said, well, Miss B, we need to build them a school.
Build a school, no easy task. They started out raising money. They sold samosas, washed cars, screened movies, you name it. And in just a few months, this little class raised $20,000. So much, it's not just a one-room schoolhouse they can build, but a full 3-story school. And so Mrs. B set off on a journey she'd dreamed of, up into the dusty mountains above Port-au-Prince to a town called Canaan. It's home to thousands of earthquake refugees who live with no running water, no electricity, and no school, until now. The first step was a temporary school. It's up and running. 53 students already in uniform. The permanent school for 250 is growing from its foundations.
It makes me want to cry because she just makes me feel so awed, and I'm very proud of her.
All of this because of a handful of students back in Canada and Mrs. B, the teacher who believed in them.
These are for you.
At another fundraiser, a special tribute to the students, accepted by someone who, without Mrs. B, might not be here.
They believe in me and I believe in them, and Together, we not only change our lives, but we change the world around us.
For inspiring great things and seeing the potential in everyone, Serena Buffalino is this week's Everyday Hero.
This is the reason why I do what I do, is because of Yolanda and all the
Okay. Yes. That's okay. Sometimes it happens. Let me bring up my crew here.
Hey, I thought it was me. Look, it doesn't help to be getting old. And then it's like, is it me or what? Right?
Hey, I got you all beat on getting old, so don't even go there.
It was funny because we have our audience telling us, go out and come back in.
Too
So
funny.
thank you, Caroline. Thank you. I think it's Letitia. There were some people that were on listed to us, and they were like, "Go out, we can't hear you. Come back in." I love to see that they care about us. They really do.
We're here now.
Yes.
We're here
You know,
now,
what
and
is
they
it?
will.
What is it with us? I mean, it's always something. I forgot last month it was something we
It was
couldn't
hot
get past.
flashes.
Yeah.
It was me and hot flashes.
And laughter. We had a lot of
No,
laughter.
it was something going on. We were laughing the whole time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we were.
have so much fun. Okay, so let me. Okay, oosha.
Okay.
Okay. So first of all, ladies, I always got to say this first. Thank you for always coming on, even if it's what we did. And I know, especially sometimes when it happens that way, it's even better sometimes because we're kind of just like in that mode. But this just proves that you always ready, always be ready, always be prepared because you never know what's going to happen, how things are going to happen. So thank you both for being on the show this evening. And I want you to introduce yourselves. We might have some other ladies coming on, but if it's just us, hey, we can rock this. I know we can because we always do. So introduce yourselves, and then we'll get right into the topic. I think it's going to be a good one tonight. I really think it's going to be a good one. So let's start with whoever wants to start first. I don't want to pick.
All right, I'll go first. First of all, I just have to say, I love the hat.
Thank you.
Love the outfit. I also want to
Thank
say, I really enjoyed that last commercial that was on about the lady in Canada, the school teacher. Amazing the work that she's accomplishing. That is just, that's awesome. So I am Regina Partain Bergman, and I am CEO and founder of Innovative, that's a company a long time ago. Bridgeport Strategy is my company. I am a profit acceleration and exit strategy coach, helping business owners to find additional profit in their company, find additional revenue, build a roadmap for them of how to get it once we find it, so that they can create a business that they can scale and that they can ultimately sell when they're ready to move on to their next adventure. And I am host of the podcast and the E360 TV show, Pursuing Profit with Principles.
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay.
Love it.
Miss Lady with the nice hat on.
Oh, thank you. I am America's Supermom. I'm the mother of 15 children, and I am passionate about helping mothers to juggle career, family, and all the other responsibilities with a smile instead of stress. So I do that as a coach as well as a media strategist to help use any platform that I can to talk about the importance of mental wellness. So I am so excited to be here today.
Now, Miss Lady, you have to do the SMILE acronym. I love it.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, so SMILE acronym came about during the pandemic. I suffered from depression myself in the past, and I wanted to have something that was proactive that people can do instead of waiting until being depressed and trying to get out of it. So it's 5 areas that you need to be mindful of every day, like a daily check-in, to make sure that you are mentally well. And I'm not a doctor, but this is just what's worked for me. And the elements of the SMILE are sleep, your mood, inner voice, laughter, and energy. So keeping an eye on all those areas and seeing if something is not in alignment, what you can do to kind of move forward. And it's also great points to start out with other family members, coworkers, friends. Those are some areas that you can kind of probe to see how they're doing with their mental wellness and to help them get on the right path.
Awesome. Yeah, every time you talk about that, because I always remember you sent me a book and some gifts. Ooh, it's been months ago. And you put the SMILE acronym in there. And I always have that to read, especially, when some days my SMILE is not there. So yeah, I love when you tell about the acronym because it does help. It helps a lot of people. So you're saving lives, lady. You're saving lives.
Oh, thank you.
Great reminders. Those are 5 excellent reminders of things that you should be paying attention to.
Yeah, especially now with, like you said. And see what comes through sometimes the tragedy brings treasures. I've been hearing that a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot. I'm seeing that more from us as women and what we're doing, what we're accomplishing right now through the whole pandemic and still dealing with it. It's weird now. It's like, I don't even know. I look at the news, I don't even know what to think anymore.
What's going on in Minnesota? Now, you're in Minnesota, right?
Oh, who, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, that's what I meant to say. So what's going on there?
Well, they with that what's it called? The Delta thing? I don't even know what it's called.
Yeah, Delta variant.
Delta variants. Well, it's snuck into some of the cities of Wisconsin, so now they're trying to do this. No, they're saying basically we got to put our mask on if you've been vaccinated. Vaccinated or not. And then people, the kids are going back to school, but now they're thinking about they might have to not let them go back to school. So it's weird because they've been to school for a week.
Yeah.
See, ours went back. Ours went back yesterday.
Okay, so you're okay over there then? Well,
no, we're in our county. It's a 60-day mandate for masks because we're in a state of emergency. Our hospital in this county is to full capacity.
Ooh, okay, yeah, we're kind of in the same thing. How about you, Regina?
I haven't heard too much here where I'm at in Texas, but a friend of mine in the UK had a niece who got married about 3-4 weeks ago now. 38 or 39 people in the wedding came down with it within 3 days.
Oh,
it's a fast moving. It has an incubation period of like 2.9 days. And the person that was the carrier for it was tested the day before the wedding, and they tested negative, and then they tested positive.
Oh. Well, I'm gonna.
It's just, it's wicked.
It is. This is just. Well, just to let you ladies know, I had a scare the other day. So usually around this time when it's like, really hot, and then, because I have allergies, and sometimes the allergies get into sinus infections and it goes to that whole thing. Plus I have asthma, so I just got a bit of everything going on in the summertime. So I wasn't breathing. So the certain things they say that if you have COVID, you're breathing, you might be stuffed up, those things. So I'm sitting here and get a little paranoid. I'm like, oh no. I was okay, my breathing, I had my inhalers, I had everything. But it seemed like they weren't working the way they usually do. So I was like, oh no. And there's nobody here. It's just me. I'm like, how did this shouldn't have happened? Hopefully it didn't. So I decided to go to urgent care because I said, let me stop freaking out and let me go to urgent care. I get there. They're saying, and it's weird because now, it's so sad that before you went to the doctor, before all this happened, your doctor checks on you, you make sure, because we're not scared to be around each other. Now they have the the mask, the other mask,
Right.
and
Shield,
hood or
yeah.
shield, and some. I mean, they came in like what they call this.
Invasion of the Body Snatcher. I mean, or like, yeah, like you know, the people that come
That's funny.
a hazard, you know,
Yeah,
like
they
I
have
know
to.
what you
Smells
mean.
Yeah,
bad.
they have to.
Yeah.
So then she's coming in, she's like, okay, Barbara. She's what? I mean, she literally has all this stuff on her face. And I just had my mask on. I'm thinking to myself, did I need to put some other stuff on besides?
Yeah.
I mean, what is going on here? And she says, so, and then she's like, you know, I'm here. I'm sitting on the bed. She's over here. So we're like this.
Don't get too close.
Yeah. She's so, and then I said, well, she said, and as soon as I moved her, she's like, I said, well, don't you have to check something here? And she says, okay, Miss Beckley, so what's wrong? I said, well, I'm not breathing. She said, you're breathing? How are you breathing? I said, well, I'm having my asthma. I think it said, are you sure? And then she, you know,
No, that's why I'm here.
I said, well, that's why I'm here. So you can figure out what's going on. She said, does anybody in your house have COVID? Did you know, that's the first thing. And I said, no, it's just me in my house. And the first thing she did was, okay, I got to get the nurse. I said, oh, you know what's going on? She said, yeah, we got to give you a COVID test. I'm like, huh? I said, I've been vaccine. I got my card. I brought my card. Here's my card. I was like, she said, anytime anybody has any type of those symptoms, they have to do it automatically.
They have to. Yeah.
So now it doesn't come back like, you know, we take the test an hour later, here you go. No, I went at 9:00 that night. I couldn't find out until 12 o'clock that afternoon if I, you know, whatever. She said, if you get a call, this is her. If you get a call, now she sounded good because she had all that stuff on, so she didn't sound like herself. She said, if you get a call, that means you have to stay home for 14 days and whatever. If you don't get a call, you're good. I'm like, listen. I said, okay, now that you're saying all that, are you still gonna do something for my asthma? Thanks for the test, but I need to breathe. You know, I need to feel good about breathing here. He's like, oh yeah, we'll give you some.
Yeah. Oh, afterthought.
We'll give you a more increased inhaler and give you some pills, and you'll be good. But you had to take that test.
Crazy times, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
crazy
yeah,
times.
and then she walked out, you know, the same way with all that stuff on her. But weird. Our lives are different. I'm telling you, ladies, it's a whole nother program. But now that we got over the opening of our show today, I thought it would be a good topic to talk about how to deal with difficult, or I'm going to do two of this, or people that are confused. And I have a quote, and it goes a little something like this. You can't control other people. You can only control how you respond to them. So
Amen.
with that, and I thought this would be a good lead in, because when you are dealing with difficult people, and sometimes they think you're the difficult one, and you know the way in your mind that is them, but they want to make you to think it's you. So we're gonna go straight to. I want to start with Regina on this one, because I know we all coaching and everything, so we have them.
We do have them. And you know, it's interesting because one particular incident came to mind when you asked that, or when you said that was the question there. And that I worked with someone a while back, and you know, I really like working with people that I have a synergy with, that we really connect, you know, and we were really struggling, and this person was going through a difficult time that I didn't understand fully what they were going through and how it was impacting them. And physically, they were going through a health challenge, and the medication for it was intense, and, you know, and it was really impacting them. And I honestly was ready to say, you know, I just don't think we're a fit to work on this project together. I didn't think I could do it. Didn't think I could, you know, endure/enjoy the project. And I prayed about it. You know, some people may find this, and it, you know, doesn't fit with them. I don't know, but I prayed about it, and I was just really ready to call it quits. And the answer to my prayer that came was, no, don't quit on her. You're going to change her life by hanging in there, by staying with it, and by loving her, and just, being the best you can be for her. You're going to change her life. And our relationship now is amazing, and she got through the health challenge, and that impacted how she reacted to things, and we have, we do really well together. But I mean, and that's hard for me to do, to just say, okay, I don't think we can make this work. That's not something I do every day.
Yeah.
But it was just, I didn't know if I could do a long-term project. I don't know that I can handle this.
Now, so how did you end up talking to her about that?
I never did.
Oh,
We
you
never
didn't?
had the discussion. Never had the discussion. I just kept loving and accepting her.
Wow.
And that was it.
Now, so what was it you thought was really difficult and challenging?
She was very short about things. She was having issues with the clients we were working with together, being, kind of being extremely controlling about things, kind of yanking things back, when we had things together, and it's really hard to describe, but it kind of almost accusing people, of things, and it was just there was so much negativity that I was really having a hard time with it.
Wow.
And so like I said, I was ready to say, I just don't think this is going to work together. You go ahead, you take the project, you do it. It's okay. And the Lord just said, no, hang in there. Just keep loving on her. You're going to change her life. And so that's the story that stands out to me the most, Barb.
Yeah, I love that, because, that's why it's so important to know people's backstories and what's going on with them.
It is.
You can't look at it at face value, because you never know.
Yeah, and we
First
can't
of all,
judge.
Yeah, you can't judge, because you might do it so quickly. Like you said, you could have did it the opposite. I mean, the other way around, and missed out on opportunity, first of all, for giving your heart to her and helping her out. And now you became, the close relationship.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, we never had the conversation. Just watch the relationship evolve. And,
wow. That's amazing.
She didn't know how close I came to parting.
See that, yeah, and then like you said, you took it. A lot of people have different ways, but I think we believe in God. So you prayed and you asked Him, what should I do in this situation? Yeah. And yeah. I know your thought was like, I'm
boogieing.
But God was like, no, I don't need you to boogie just yet.
Yeah, you don't get out that easy.
And those are the times where I'd be like, ooh, I need some extra prayer. You'd be wanting to like, and then he'd be like, no, you got to stay right there. And you'd be like, ah. But then, it helps both, though. It's like a win-win situation. After I think about it, because there's been times that I had to do the same thing, and I'm like, I'm out of here. I mean, I would be typing the email or about to do a call, and then all of a sudden it's like,
had the conversation in your head.
Yeah, just talking it out. Well, I'm just going to say this to them, and I'm going to do this. Yeah. And then God is like, no, you can erase all that. That's not happening.
Yeah, I have a different plan.
Yeah, and then you be like, okay. Then all of a sudden, I need prayer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was praying for them. I need it because I got to take and do what He want me to do with them. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny. I think for me, I think it comes in seasons, because I'm kind of in a season where, I'm really protecting my energy. So as I evolve, which I work to try to do every day, letting go of limits and, being more flexible for change, that I notice if there are people that have energy that's different than mine and may not be in alignment. So, it's one of those things to where the conversation is different. I can be more intentional with people and just cut right to the chase, so to speak. What are your intentions? What do you see yourself doing? And based on their level of commitment, it helps me to say, hey, you know what? I am supportive. So glad we connected. However, I know I'm going left and you want to go right. You know what I'm saying? And being okay with that. So, but I thought that was really interesting, your story, because there are some times where you notice where people are in your camp, so to speak, and things started off a certain way. But then as time goes on, you notice a change for whatever reason, whether it's you or them, but something's not right. And then also with them being a part of that circle, there is the situation where sometimes we are more invested, and it isn't so simple to just, cut your losses, so to speak, and keep it moving. So I respect that you gave that example, because, we really need to check within ourselves. Is this that type of time, or, what is it that we're really working towards, so we can examine really how we should move forward?
Yeah. I love how you brought, we just lost Regina. We'll keep talking.
Okay.
I love how you said that, the energy, being around certain energy. And it's funny, we haven't talked for a while, but every time we come, it's just like we've been talking forever. I love it. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of relationship that you have with people sometimes. Especially. But I love how you said that, Lachelle, because I've been in that same mode right now, to the point where some people, unfortunate, and I didn't really, and it's funny because I was really like pulling, because I didn't really want to let go, because I know there was some things that was, helping, but then I seen it more of a hurt on my end, and that energy, was really just to the point where I see my own self changing in a way that was not me at all.
Amen.
And I was like, it scared me. It really did. Because I was like, wait a minute. And then, you go back to your past stuff some of my past stuff, some people came in my life like that, where it was a controlling spirit. And I know I'm getting into, but I'm just talking the hell like it is, how we know about it. And I recognized that. And I said, this cannot come in my wheelhouse right now. I cannot, because I feel like I was going backwards.
Right.
And I need to go forward. So I didn't need that energy around me. You know how they always say you have people around you that's, that light-minded and that positive, that energy that you're, So I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is so important.
And it's like, imagine you're doing your work and you're keeping your head down. You lift up for a minute to take a break and look around, and it's like, okay, well, who is this around me? You know what I mean? I thought it was the same people, because I don't know, it's just like you were just in the flow. And then when you stop that flow for just getting up for air, you realize you've been flowing, people are with you, but is it the right people?
Yes. And then you thought it was. I mean, sometimes you're kind of like caught off guard.
Exactly.
You thought it was, and then after a while, it's like, this is totally not what and I'm feeling this now. You know how always, you know how people say, I just had that feeling about that person. When I was younger, I used to be like, what are people talking about? Boy, I got older, I didn't understand when people say there's a certain vibe. You know how people say, well, there's a certain vibe about them.
Exactly.
And I was like, ooh. And then I felt bad, because I thought that was being what we were saying earlier about, not giving them a chance and, looking at the, but I said, no, sometimes that's intuition telling you, okay, yeah, this is something that you need to look at here. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's back.
Yeah. I lost internet for some reason.
It's crazy.
Went away.
It does. It's so much changes with this technology, but I think one of those things to really recognize. Sometimes when people's energy comes out, we kind of go inward and think it's a reflection of us instead of really, it's like if you were in the store looking at fruit, you would just look at the fruit, the color, the features to determine what kind of fruit it is. So it can be the same thing with people. You're not saying for them to tell you who they are. You just observe, you look at the features and the characteristics, and you decide based on that energy, I don't know, something just doesn't seem right with that. And I don't have to pursue this. And it might be in my best interest to kind of wait this out, let them be, and, go from there. And I think sometimes we just have this mindset that, oh, I'm excited, I'm growing, and everyone doesn't feel the same way.
Yeah.
But we can be selective in the level of relationship that we create with people. It doesn't mean you don't have to have any relationship necessarily, but you can be selective about the level of relationship that you take it to.
Now, that's good. I want to stay there for a second, Regina. I like what you said, because I know some people, we all, I think all of us as heartfelt coaches, because we're all help, you're all just lovely and your heart is there for people. And that's what we do. And, it's just like, we just want to be this person, say, okay, I'm here for you. I want to be there for you. I'm here to help you grow and stuff. But then when they start, like you said, there's different levels, and also they start doing different things. And you're like, you feel something like, I don't know if that's going to fit around like we were talking about. But you say that, well, let me categorize this person in my life. Where do they fall into my life? Where do I put them? Do I put them here, here, here? Or do they totally not even be categorized in my life? So, okay, is that a bad thing to think that way? Or is that like, okay?
I don't think so.
I mean, some people just can't be. Yeah.
I think it's a maybe self-protection a bit. There are some people you shouldn't let inside. There are some people that don't have a good heart, that don't, that aren't going to be a good thing for you to be around them. And you need to not disrespect them in any way, but you need to limit the access they have to your life.
I'm so glad.
I agree. And I think there's times where, it's just like being, at different stages of your business. If you're at the beginning, there are certain things that you're doing within your business that take a lot of time and attention.
Right.
So if you had someone who was a toddler and required a lot of time and supervision, and you have this new business that requires a lot of time and supervision, that is not a good fit for you for whatever reason, right? Because, that you cannot afford to invest the time that they would need in order to develop as well as what your business is. You have to determine what your priorities are. And there are some people that, and even now you think the pandemic, I remember when I first got dealt the hand of being in the pandemic, my kids came home, I was working from home, everything was on the computer. They were here and they were on the computer. And what would take me an hour to do took me 3 days with the pandemic. So there's things that take place with transitions in your life and in the lives of the people that you may serve that, everyone's season is not the same.
That's right.
So it might be a season that you're in that you can't afford to do that for whatever reason. Or maybe you can, but really understanding that it is just a cycle of life that's occurring and being able to be honest about that. So, and you can choose, right? I mean, of course, if someone requires a lot of time and energy, you can choose to do that, but then later on, don't get upset because they require a lot, which you knew ahead of time but you felt, no, I can't. You know what I mean? You have a
Right.
way out
Yep.
before you even get started.
Yep. The graphic that comes to my mind, or the image that comes to my mind, is like opening a door. And you can determine how far open you want that door in that relationship. And as time goes on, ideally it opens further, it opens wider, and you have more of a relationship. Yeah. And hopefully you don't have to do that, Barb. You don't have to slam the door on anybody. But you have to, and it's just like, you have people in your life that may be close to you that is not a healthy relationship. And you have to pull that door to some. You have to limit your exposure to it. Again, not being mean, not being rude, not being unkind to them, but you have to protect your own mental health as well as physical health, right? And you can do that with that door.
Yes, definitely. Just to add to that, Regina, you have to do that, like you said, mentally for yourself, physically, and I'm going to even put business. Because there have been people, family and friends, because I found out that, you were given a gift to do what you're doing in your business, being a coach or a mentor or whatever you're doing.
Right.
So you know that, and deep down inside, and you're working on it. Now, it's not going to be, some days are going to be days that are like, yay, I got my first client, all this stuff. Then you got other days like, boy, I haven't seen a client. I'm working hard, I'm doing this. And while you're working through that, you have people on the outside saying, well, why are you wasting time? Why are you stressing out? Why are you doing that? You need to do this, you need to do that. And I'm like, but you don't understand. You weren't given this. I was. So I know how to work this out. I need you just to be supportive right now. I don't need to keep telling me what I don't need to do and why you over here doing that and why you sitting here over here and why you listen to all these. Because I get that. They said, Barbara, mostly all day you're either downloading something on a PDF or listening to coaches or getting trained somewhere. Don't you get tired of that? Don't you get? I said, you know what? I need to fill my brain. I'm becoming this expert in my lane.
Yes.
I'm learning and growing. I know you can't see that because you're doing this over here. I respect what you're doing. You respect what I'm doing, and we can get along.
There you go.
Much better. And I had to have that conversation with a few people because they were thinking I was crazy, and I'm looking at them like, you should be doing what I'm doing. I mean, not what I'm doing, but you were saying, I'm like, do something.
Exactly.
That's what I thought. So I think that, not so much of getting rid of them. I mean, some people you don't be like, okay, totally get away from me, but explain to them what's going on so they can get better understanding. Because you don't want them to be the liability in your life. I don't need that. You don't need that. We all don't do that.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Very true.
So it's funny because I know the topic. What was the topic? Oh, about dealing with difficult customers or ones that seem like they're confused. And I know he went down a whole nother lane, but that's good because it's a good conversation. But I wanted to get back to not going back to difficult people. And this might fall in the category that I had. And I was kind of like you, Regina. I was doing prayer on this particular individual. I've been knowing this individual for over 3 years. I met her through another networking. And so I won't say names, just speak, I don't want to, whatever.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Just to bring up the point that you start off with a person, you might be able to collaborate with that person. It seems like it's really jiving. You talk about some things. And then all of a sudden you find out it seems like that individual just wants to pull and get ideas from you. And not so much of both, win-win situation.
Right.
Yeah. And I had to wind up doing this, pulling back because I was seeing the curtain was opening up here in my face.
Yeah.
I'm like,
closing that door.
Yeah, that door was closing. I didn't want to shut it. I wasn't trying to do this shut.
Exactly.
But because I want to be respectful to them because they still was a nice individual.
Right.
It wasn't like they were a bad person, And and now it's like I think they see that I've been doing that, and now they like eye me or whatever. They're like, Barbara, when are we gonna? Barbara, they keep asking me, and I'm like, well, you see what I'm doing and everything. I'm like, okay, how many times I gotta, and I feel kind of bad sometimes. So in that. How would you, if you ever even had that issue before with, individuals like business partner, whoever, would you handle that? Because I know, you have to you feel like you got to keep on giving excuses and, so how would you handle that?
That's a tough one. It really is. And I'm not thinking of a business situation. what comes to mind is a social situation, first of all, but it really is probably not the best one, because the person actually has some mental difficulties. We'll put it that way, some mental and physical difficulties. And so, their level of expectations are unrealistic. I'll put it that way. But I think to some degree, the level of expectation of this person that you're describing is unrealistic. That's a tough one. I don't know the answer.
Because you want to help.
Yeah,
and
you want to
know
help.
that they're growing too. They're growing their business. You're both kind of growing
Right.
your business. But then it seemed like when you come, it's like more so like, ooh, let me get that idea. Ooh, let me get that. And then when you ask them, they're like, oh, I don't have it, or I don't know what you're talking about, or like, oh, wait a minute,
yeah.
I was helping you here. You can't one idea about something.
Well, I think
Oh, go ahead, Lisa.
I was going to say one thing you can do is, I never go to meetings without an agenda. Okay. So if you don't really have a clear goal in the conversation or something, or letting them understand the mindset of whether this is give and take or whatever. And I realize that sometimes we get in connection with people and it evolves. It starts off one way where maybe we're thinking about just being kind, helping, and, they're calling us all the time, and this is a paid situation and they're not paying, but they're, fun to talk to. So I think it's really setting the tone for where you're headed and continuing to do that in the process, because I think we feel bad because, oh, I started off, I was helping, and then you're trying to run a business, you're growing, and you don't have that same amount of time that maybe you started off with, or, your confidence is growing. You might have started out, you got with them, you just started coaching, and, it was fun, one of those things. And not that it's not fun now, but there was this zeal and enthusiasm because it was just doing whatever it was you were excited about doing, and the money didn't matter as much. Whereas now, as you grow and you realize the impact that you can have with other people, it's like, hey, my time is valuable, and this is one of the things that I have learned to grow accustomed to. And so sometimes we have to have those conversations again, or have them for the first time if they've never been had. So it's just that different steering in a different direction, because, what I've found is we can sit in silence and be miserable, and the other person is doing just fine, not even thinking anything's wrong.
Yeah.
True.
And most of the time it works that way.
Sending you cards, inviting you to parties, and you're like, I don't even want to be around you. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember listening to a podcast of Russell Brunson's a few years ago, and he was talking about a similar kind of situation. And he was talking about people reaching out and saying, "Hey, Russell, can I take you to lunch? I want to pick your brain." And he said, "Yeah, you can, but I charge $500 for that lunch." Yeah, that's, I don't have the time to give to brain picking these days. If you want to pick my brain, it's going to cost $500 plus you're buying lunch.
And that has happened, but with me, in terms of, people see you when you started out, and then because you still are, you have your core beliefs, your core values, you're the same person. You just are getting more skilled in your career or whatever. So you're still the same. They still feel they can approach you, but you do have to let people know, hey, you know what? This is a business for me. My time is valuable. They're not going to know if you don't say. So
That's true. Very
Mhm.
true.
It's funny. I was just, Regina, when you talked about him, he was saying you got his 500 to pick his brain. So I was in Clubhouse. Yeah, we were Clubhouse, and one of the ladies that was on the monitor, she was talking about boundaries, and she was having the same thing where there were her friends. Now that her business is thriving, then
Right.
she has her friends coming to her, asking her questions that her coaching clients would ask.
Mhm.
And she was like, okay, this is a fine line now. So she had to figure out a way to say, some things I can't talk to you about because that's stuff that's in my program. So now
Mhm.
what she does is if somebody says, well, I think her name was Monica. Well, Monica, I was just thinking of starting something, maybe a non-for-profit. What do you think about that? She said, can you give me some? And Monica said, well, that sounds nice, but I charge for that.
There you go.
Right.
There
And
you
she
go.
has a book on it talking about I charge.
Amen.
And I was like, I like that. So
Yeah.
that was good.
Yeah.
So she
Yeah.
said,
Because you reach that place, you have to.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with friends, they think, because especially if they know you're the guru of, what you're doing, they're like, oh,
So
shoot,
true.
I can call Regina anytime and ask her some questions about how to build my business, get profit and stuff. And Regina's back here like, this is what I do. I'm not
So
going
true.
to, yeah.
I
Yeah.
learned this lesson from my daughter because she sings. And
Oh.
so whenever we have a function or different places, they reach out and I'm like, oh yeah, can't you sing for them? Or, whatever. I'm thinking
Yeah.
I'm getting her opportunities. And she's like, look, Mom, this is a lot of work. I have to get the music. I have to find the sheet music of it. I have to practice it. I have to learn the song because every song that people bring to me, I don't know. Then I have to practice with the band if they have a band and have to have the right mic. I mean, she went into all this stuff and I'm thinking, I didn't know the value of that
Yeah.
because I don't sing, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so when people see you do what you do, they don't know the things that go on behind
Yeah,
the scenes
exactly.
to make it like it is.
Yeah.
So that's the thing you have to educate them on and say, look,
Right.
this is a skill and a talent for me. But even if I do provide this answer for you, it took me 2 or 3 hours or 2 years or 5 years to get the
Yeah.
answer.
I paid my dues to get
Exactly.
here.
So this is saving you 3 years, and there's a cost to that. Now
And
I can steer you on where I got the information, but you're not going to be able to reproduce what I can tell you in 5 minutes without paying for it.
Yeah. So you charge for that.
Love it.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's just like
Here's my calendar link.
Exactly. That happened to me today. It's like, hey, I can dedicate this to you at this fee,
Right.
and they went into all this stuff they wanted to do. And I said, look, we're going to have this one session. From there, I'll be able to assess because it's like, and I don't even get excited about people calling sometimes because, they just, not everybody is willing to do the work.
Right. Right.
They hear about you. They see what you're doing. They want what you have.
You're the shortcut.
They want to know how to do it. Yeah. But they don't want to do the work.
Right.
They think you're going to give them some overnight cliff notes or something.
Yeah.
Microwave results, I call it. Everybody wants microwave results.
My mom goes, champagne tastes on a beer budget.
That's the one I grew up with. For sure.
They do want that champagne for the beer.
Right.
Yeah. But I love what you said, Lachelle, about people think that what you did. They look at the the finished product or whatever result, and they're like, oh, that probably cost whatever Lachelle did. Just like me, I mean, I do videos, I do sizzle videos and stuff for people at times, and a 30-second. I keep telling people, even a 30-second video takes sometimes an hour, even if you do it really well. Especially if you're trying to help somebody's brand and put that in a video. And somebody said, I said, well, I start off at $450. And they're like, $450 for what? I said, they said, for that video? They said, this is 30 seconds. I said, okay, I have to sit down. I have to do a storyboard. I explained what I have to do. Then I have to edit and cut. Then I have to put other things in there. And I use 3 different platforms for it. So yes, it's going to cost, and my time. I didn't put that in there yet. So,
Exactly.
and they're like, that's okay. I'll do it myself. And then like 2 months later, I'm still trying to do that video. And how much time did that cost you?
Yeah.
So true.
2 months. And let's
Yeah.
see, if you go by what you make an hour and you took 2 months to try to get that video, you are in a deficit.
Yeah.
So true.
So yeah, but people don't really, if they, like I said, if they don't understand, like with your daughter and the singing, they'll take it for granted. It'll be like, well, all she gotta do is sing the song. Well, no, it's much
Yeah.
more than singing a song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's much
That's
more.
kind of like we look at people and think that they're overnight successes, and we don't look at the 20 years that went into
Yeah.
getting to that
Yes.
space.
Yes,
So
I,
true.
it's you say that. I think I don't know why Barbara Streisand came in my head, but I think because I'm named by her. My mother named her by because she loved Barbara
Uh-huh.
Streisand as a singer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I got my name. And
Very good.
you see how long she's been in. This I'd love to see, especially women that have been doing things for so long and they're still
Right.
the icon. And
Right.
they're still an icon. And
Yeah.
people be like, oh, well, she, this, and she was back in the day. So people know she did she worked. Yes,
Mhm.
this lady
Yes.
from beginning to end, from when she was young to now, she's in her 70s now. Yeah, I think so, 70s, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on now, you have to look at that. You can't just say,
Mhm.
oh, well, she
Longevity.
she knew somebody. No, that took time
Mhm.
and effort and work. Respect that. That's what I always tell people.
That's
Mhm.
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Wow. Well, I know our time is there. I love this show every month. I do. I really do, because we just get into so many good conversations. So I just want to go back before we end, is that, like I said with the quote, you can't control other people. You can only control how you respond to them. So I think we did talk about that in different situations, that no matter what, you can't control another person. You just can't. No one can control Regina, Lachelle, or me. We can only just say, what can you do?
Mhm.
And we had different
Mhm.
examples tonight. You do the Usha, you could pray, talk it out, sometimes slowly shut the door in certain situations. Sometimes the door could be all the way shut. You never know, but there's different ways to do it. Look at the boundaries in your life. We talked a little bit about that. So I'm glad that we brought up some concepts that people can take and hopefully get value from there. Of things that they're dealing with people that, in their lives, be it business partners, friends, family. So I just want to just give you two last minute to give some last words, and then please let them know how they can reach you. So let's start with Lachelle this time, because I know Regina went.
All right. My last words are, I love this story that I heard one time about having a problem. And so the guy was talking and he said, have you ever noticed that whenever you have a problem, you're with the problem? So when we think about difficult people, right, we have to begin to think about what about this is difficult. We have to get over some of these hurdles. I know in my case, it was the fear of having the conversation, because you play it out in your head and you're thinking they're going to respond this way. And it's all this negative stuff that is difficult, rather than just taking your time and really going one question at a time and asking questions. A lot of times when we create the scenario in our head, we're making statements. You did this and you did that. But if you come to somebody with the idea of how can we solve this problem? How can we work this out? Asking questions involves a give and take and gives the other person an opportunity to contribute, rather than you just dictating or it being the way you see it and not giving room for the other person to participate. So I would say, thinking about the words and the language that we use, why is something appearing to be difficult? And it may not just be that other person. So that would be my takeaway. And I could be reached on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, pretty much everywhere. So I'm glad to have been here and been a part of the conversation.
Always glad that you're here. And you have me thinking, see, now this is going to start into another show next month. Now I'm sitting here like, okay, that's good. Oh yeah. I was like, wait a minute, Barbara, we're not on a topic anymore. We're trying to end.
We could just say amen, and that'd be good.
Look, my thing is practicing what I'm preaching, okay? Is that what I'm saying?
I was like, oh my God, I'm glad it's recording. Okay, Miss Regina, please say some last thoughts.
Well, I will say amen to everything she said. But yeah, I think that it's important that we take our emotions out of the situations. And I think that's a bit of what you were saying there, Lachelle. We have to step back. We have to look inside and say, how much am I contributing to the problem, first of all? But then we need to also, when things happen, we are not responsible for the other person's response or actions. We're only responsible for our own. And we need to make sure that we are responding from a place of love and light and support and, all of that we're, no matter what the situation is, we want to come to it from the higher ground, right? We want to come from a place, a good place. And then whatever their takeaway is, that's their response in the moment. Who knows what it can be tomorrow, the next day, a week, a year, 5 years, 10 years, who knows? It's whatever's going on in their life. They may see it totally different down the road, but at this moment, in this moment, they're taking it a certain way. And we can't control that. We're not responsible for it. And but we are responsible for how we respond.
Yes.
And what we do.
Yeah. Ooh, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Another amen.
She's so sweet.
That was a good one.
I was just saying, with both of you saying it about, looking back at us, because there's been times I just thought about this the other day. I had a conversation, having this like heated conversation with somebody about a certain issue. And now I'm finding out when I do get in those moments with that particular person and they start getting real loud and yelling and stuff, I said, you're not, and I always say, and then I feel myself kind of urging to yell a little because, it's like a defensive mechanism. Like, okay, you're going to yell at me, I'm going to yell at you. You're going to yell.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I said, okay, who's going to be the bigger person here? So while they're like, da, 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 and all of a sudden I just felt myself calming down. And I said, okay, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. And they look at me, they're like, what? I said,
higher ground.
I'm listening to what you have to say.
Yes.
And they're like, well, you would just yell. I said, no, I'm letting you talk. I need to hear what you have to say. And that was
that was
lost Lachelle this time. So I was thinking, so I was like, wow. So I've been practicing that. So now it's like,
awesome.
Who's yelling the loudest?
Yeah.
Like, so if I'm yelling the loudest than they are taking that approach that I was doing. If I'm down there and they're yelling, then they need to, bring it down a notch. So that just shows you that, okay, doing that is not going to control or help that other individual because they're upset. It's heated argument or whatever it is. So you have to take the higher ground, like you said, and say, you know what? I'm going to step back. I'm going to listen. Even if I totally don't agree. And sometimes, that is difficult. Sometimes when that they just don't understand. And you're like,
yep. And it's okay. And one of the affirmations that I listen to every day, I've recorded a bunch of affirmations for myself and I listen to them every night as I'm going to sleep. And one of them has to do with that and about, when you're in those situations to step back and recenter yourself in that moment and then be able to press forward and do just exactly what you did, give that person, I learned a long time ago with my husband, my first husband, that it is important if you want someone else to hear you, you must hear them first. And so I had gone to him with a problem. And in my naivete, I said to him, I started telling him, we sat down and I started telling him what I was upset about. Well, he immediately became defensive, and he didn't hear anything else I had to say because he was now defensive. And so he was on the attack as
Mhm.
well. And so I learned that when I have an issue, it is best to sit down with the person and say, "Hey, we need to chat about something," and then go straight to their point. Tell me what you're feeling when this happens. Get them to start talking and create a dialogue as opposed to creating that defensiveness where the dialogue stops. And that was a really powerful lesson for me to learn.
Yeah, I hear you, Regina, because I'm learning it too, and I'm learning it more and more. It's just like I said about this certain individual. We've been knowing each other for over 20 years, and it's a man,
Right.
and he's a dear friend of mine. But I'm finding out that there's certain triggers
Yeah.
in him
Yeah.
that now I step
We all
back.
have them. We all
Yeah,
have them.
and
So,
it's
yeah.
and when I see that coming out, because I was like, okay, and I always explain to people, I said I love to communicate. If there's something that I've done wrong, or you see that I did something, or whatever you think, let's talk it out together
Right.
so we can get a
Right.
better understanding. If I need to
Yep.
whatever I need to do, right? And I've
Right.
told him them over and over again. And then I said, now let's both ways, be respectful both ways. If I see something, you see something, let's talk. So then if
Right.
I start talking like you just said, when you said with your first husband, and then all of a sudden, like you said, it's just defense. Like all of a sudden, I was just having a conversation. I was just asking a question. All of a sudden, whoosh.
Yeah.
Like, no, what are you saying? I don't understand. But you said, and I hate when they said, but you said, and Regina, you did not say what they said you said, because now they're taking it and they changed up the words.
And
And
it's,
you're like,
yeah. Well, and they're
yeah,
saying it from their perception of what you said, which is
yeah,
really the key. We each have a perception of what took place in a conversation. You remember that old game of telephone
oh,
where you whisper something to one person and they whisper it to another, and by the time it comes back to you, it's nothing at all like what you said. And that's what that's what that is. That's perception.
mm,
Someone's
yeah,
perception, and their perception is their reality.
their
And to
reality. Yeah,
debate it does nothing but make both of you upset.
I
I've
know.
learned that one the hard way.
And that's where you have to, like you said, do the okay. Because there's been
Yeah.
a lot of times I know that I didn't say somewhere. I know that they were totally wrong, and I just let them think that I was wrong. I said, you know what? Okay, is this battle?
It's
I
okay.
mean, you pick your battles. It's
Yeah,
like, is this really worth it?
exactly.
Do I have to
And
be right?
that's
Do I have
taking
to
a
show
high
up right?
road.
Yeah, yeah, and
That's
just
taking a high
sometimes,
road.
yeah,
Yeah, and you have to do that sometimes. And is it really so important that we get our point across? That we become the victor? Is that so important? And a lot of times it is. In the heat of the moment, we think that's important. And in the scope of things, it's
no,
not. It's
no,
not at all.
no,
So, yeah, to step back, recenter, take a deep breath, allow them to have allow them to experience what they're experiencing, but you can diffuse it by encouraging them and that you listen and
yeah,
truly listen, not listen to rebut, listen to understand.
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Woo. Boy, see, that sounds like a whole other topic. I told you for next
Yeah, I think you got that another one there. We're
We got
just giving you a list tonight, aren't
I
we?
know. Good. I'm glad we're all coming in with this. Well, just tell them, Regina, how they can reach you. I wanted to make sure they
I
can
would
get
love
to
to
you.
do that. So I could almost do a ditto on Lachelle. So yes, I am on LinkedIn as Regina Bergman, I think. So I use Partain Bergman because my former married name was Partain and my husband passed away in 2014, and then I remarried and I'm Bergman. So some places I am Bergman and some places I am Partain. So now I'm just using Partain Bergman so you can find me. If you put in both names, you're bound to find me. And thank you for putting up the podcast there, Pursuing Profit with Principles. And there is a pursuingprofitwithprinciples.com where you can go see listen to those podcasts. And we're also on several other platforms. And then, of course, our new show, which is Pursuing Profit with Principles on E360 TV, the Diamond Factor Experience. I love it.
I love it. You just don't know I love it too. See, this is where collaboration, as I say, kills competition, not just destroy it. It kills it, destroys it. Because I tell people, collaborating is so good. It's so good,
Yeah.
especially when you have the right individuals that you're collaborating with. And I look at Regina as one of my besties, ones that I'm collaborating. So thank you so much for just bringing your gifts and your talents to this stage and what we do, and coming every month too. So we're just gonna be we're gonna be like the Oprah type of thing, and going out there and just doing our show. Yeah, I love this.
There you go.
So I know Michelle, I was trying to give her a little time. Maybe she kicked back, but maybe
she didn't make it back in.
So
Yeah.
it's like you couldn't get in the door, and I didn't shut it either. But but
it's just not the night for internet.
I know internet's like, this is not my friend. First the sound, now people are getting shut out. Wow, that's kind of
Yeah, that's really bizarre that I got kicked out and then you got kicked out. I mean, she got kicked out. And
we all got kicked out of sound. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So definitely we'll see everybody next month. I was trying to get the date. I know it's in September because it's next month. Wow, September. Wow. The 2nd, that will be the 2nd, September 2nd. We will be back a little bit earlier than tonight. We'll make sure. And we'll have another topic to talk about to give that value that I believe hopefully all can help each other move to that just a little bit more, in your life of what you're doing. So I just want to, again, thank you. Thank you, Queen. And you will definitely
so much for having me.
Oh, just to let you, like Regina said, she comes on the Diamond Factor Experience Show with Barbara Beckley, host and experts. And she comes on every Monday morning. You'll see her 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. All the other zones, you got to figure it out. And please watch it. She started this Monday, and oh my God, she was talking mastermind with her ladies. She is bringing it. You need to listen to her show on Monday. So just chime in, and she will be there for you with her gifts. Okay, everybody. Regina, you take care now. Try to enjoy the rest of the day.
You too.
Okay.
All right. Good night, everyone.